right, here we go. So I picked out a mirror.
I think Cascarano is there.
I picked out a mirror as my prop. You should definitely get a picture of me with this mirror.
That's good.
Thank you. How many of us have been conditioned to believe that this is an insult? Right? How many people have had to stand and listen to somebody next to you in a mirror, in the ladies' room perhaps, or at a gym or wherever, and say, oh my God, I feel so fat. I don't know what to say in response to these things, because that is a description of my size, of this stuff that is on my body. And they're saying that it's something bad that they don't like. Now, sometimes I just won't say anything because I want to avoid confrontation, or I'm going to cry, or it's somebody I worked with before, and you have to be aware of consequences whenever you speak your truth or speak up in defense of your self and well-being. But sometimes I'll be brave, and I'll say, oh, you mean fat like me? Oh, no, I didn't mean you. Oh, so some other kind of fat. That's the equivalent of, okay, you're wearing a maroon top and me being like, oh, I hate maroon. I hate the color maroon. That's all they're showing this season is maroon. And looking over and I'm like, oh, but no, you look nice. It's like, you just tore apart what I'm wearing, and now you're going to buy. It doesn't matter what size we are. We have heard something that has made us feel uncomfortable in our own skin. How do we respond? How do you respond when somebody's making you feel uncomfortable in your own skin? There's a movement, and it's called fat acceptance. You could also call it size acceptance. You can also call it size diversity. Body acceptance. Body love. A lot of these mirrors are proclaiming the different phrases that we can use as part of a movement against this mainstream idea that this is the devil, that this is a demon, that this is an insult, and that trying to eliminate this, we have to remind people, if you're trying to eliminate this, it's not separate from fat people. Well, it's just the obesity epidemic. You mean the obesity hysteria that makes you call this a bad thing? Well, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about, but this is attached to people. You can't separate this from people. So if you're trying to eliminate fat, you're trying to eliminate me. You're trying to eliminate this thing called unhealthy that you have associated with my body without my permission and without knowing my story. So if you're taking notes, you don't have to relax, but if you're taking notes, please remember this. You cannot tell how healthy a person is by looking at them. Unless you're some sort of holistic, medical intuitive who knows how to diagnose just by looking at a person. Unless you're Commander Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. Okay, that's a big geek reference. And you could scan it. You cannot tell somebody's health by I looking at? But people see this, and they assume certain things. So, before I go further, and I will go further, fat acceptance. What does that movement mean? What do you call it? Size acceptance, body diversity, fat acceptance. Is the idea that fat people have the right to get on with their lives without having to lose weight first. Fat acceptance recognizes that discriminating against fat people in the workplace, healthcare, and everyday life is unjust and wrong. I've gone to doctors who have automatically started talking about my weight the first thing when they walk in the exam room. I said, you don't even know why I'm here yet. You don't know why I'm here yet. And they said, well, you know, you are significantly overweight. I'm like, really? Sometimes you gotta get funny. You're like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. I've had people make, medical abuse, and I could tell stories about that. We'll see which stories I'm going to tell you today. I've had well-meaning people trying to encourage me. They're trying to be nice, and that's a tough one. Because people are trying to be nice. It's hard to, you feel bad. You feel bad saying, you know, you're kind of singling me out. So I was at the gym, back when I used to go to the gym. I don't go to the gym anymore. P.S., you know why? It is my right to never go to the gym again. That's my right. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. This is America. We have freedom here. I don't have to go to the gym. But this was at a time in my life where I was going to the gym 6 days a week. I had something to prove. I had to prove myself that I had discipline, because that's what we reward in this country. Discipline. I wanted to show that I could do it 6 days a week for an hour and a half, and I did. I kept that up for 7 months before my body went. I did. Anyway, so I'm there at the gym. And the walls are made of mirrors, and this was at a time where it was so hard for me to look in a mirror. And there was just nowhere I could look that was safe. So sometimes you look at other people. I'm a people watcher. I love to look at people. And there, always working out at the same time every day with me, was the enemy. No, not Satan. No, not something with a pitchfork. A thin, young, blonde, white, athletic hippity hopper. So what is a hippity hopper? She would get on the treadmill. Instead of running or walking, she would hop sideways. She would do these side hops on the treadmill, because merely walking or running wasn't just enough of a challenge for her. She irritated me. And she had a ponytail. And that ponytail, not that this means anything about someone's character, but for me, the character of the ponytail, it used to swish. Please, come, sit. The ponytail, it would swish back and forth between her shoulder blades, spitefully. She had a spiteful ponytail. And mocked me. And anytime I would walk past her, it was a tiny gym, it was Tone Fitness over in Bluefield. Anytime I would walk past her, she would recoil from me. She would and I wanted to say to her, you know, the fat's not catching. It's not going to jump off of me onto you. Skinny blonde ponytail girl. I was judging her hard. I was judging her really hard. But I felt judged by her. What with the recoiling? And she would sidelong glance at me, and, you know, we had this silent relationship. But if you don't know, I'm a professor of religion here. I teach world religions. And it was the week I was teaching Buddhism. And I thought, it's my ego. This is my ego ranting. How can I go with integrity and teach my class tonight? Judging this girl so hard. I don't know her story. It's just my ego separating us. I'm recording this for my class, so forgive me. Don't I owe her the benefit of the doubt? Don't I owe her some compassion? I'm teaching compassion. Don't I owe her some compassion? And I thought in my head, as I'm watching her, she was on some weight machine. I was on some torture device, weight machine. So I promise, in my head, I promise for the sake of my students, I will talk to her. I'll talk to her one of these days, and I'll say hi, and I'm going to treat her like a human being instead of this icon of what I was judging her as. I'll do that for my students. Now, see, this is how Spirit works. The moment I had that thought about speaking to her and treating her like a human being, her head snapped right over to me. I'm like, did I think that out loud? Did she hear? Well, her ears are uncovered because of the ponytail, so she had supersonic hearing, I imagined. I had all these things I thought about. She looked right at me, and she walked over. I'm like, oh no. I didn't know what she was going to say to me. I was afraid. I'd given her the power to hurt me, right? Judging her as superior and privileged and all these things. She comes over, and we're both sweating. We're both dripping. She comes over, she sticks her hand out. I'm wiping off the sweat. She says, hi, I'm Sean. She had a blonde accent. Don't ask what that is. Sean. It's like everything was a little to her. That ponytail. I'm like, hi, Sean. She's like, I just wanted to say that I really admire you. Like, what? Well, I admire you. I see you here every day. You have such determination and perseverance. I'm a fitness trainer for a living, but I don't know if you are or not. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not even close. She says, but you're here every day. You never miss, and I just want to say I noticed that, and I think that's really awesome. Well, good thing I was sweating because I started to cry. Her being so human, and my feelings of having judged her were dissolving in these tears coming down my face. And I said, Sean, thank you so much. And I got a closer look at her. She wasn't young. She was in her 30s, right? And she talked just a little bit before she went back to her workout. She said, I said, so you're a trainer? And she says, yeah, I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm recently divorced. And I don't want to lose the house. I have 3 kids, school-age kids. And, in the morning I train, and I train people. I try to train people. She's telling me about her struggles. And she's like, when you're my age, you have to work extra hard because, everybody wants... She was just so human. Whoa. I didn't know her story. I judged her, and I thought she was judging me. And I wasn't sure had I imagined and I think I said something about it, and she said, I always feel so gross. I'm always so sweaty here. And she just was trying not to get her sweat on me. But I was receiving her as something that she wasn't. And I went home, and something made me look up her name. Sean. Sean with the head that goes like this. And in Gaelic, it means gift from God. Wow, gift from God. So judging people goes both ways. And I learned over and over and over and over and over not to judge people by what they look like or the privilege that I perceive them to have. Now, Does that mean that when people are judging you and you feel judged, that you're always going to be wrong, that's always going to be a happy ending like me and Sean? No, sometimes people are rude, judgmental, stigmatizing. But always keep in mind, you don't know people's stories. You don't know people's story. And they don't know your story. I was inspired to do this talk because of somebody's status on Facebook. A place of compassion and understanding. No, a place of ranting and raving. Social media is quite the place. It was the guy who took me to his senior prom. This is a long time ago. This is in 1981. 1980 even. That's forever ago. And he is now, he has a male partner. He has come out as a gay male. And I saw that he had struggled with, the legality of his being able to marry in the state. And so you make assumptions, too, about people's social justice orientation, right? If you see a rainbow flag on his profile picture, you can assume something about him, right? He's understanding, he's social justice oriented. It was the day the new Barbies came out. Now, I promised my students I was going to talk about the new Barbies. I grew up, I'm telling you how, I'm 51. I grew up with skinny, weird Barbie that if she was a real person, she'd be walking on all fours, that Barbie. She was always on her toes, unnaturally shaped. And now they have human-shaped Barbies in different sizes, different skin colors. There's diversity Barbie. This is good. I think it's good. It's more realistic. It doesn't set up an unrealistic beauty standard for young girls. I'm very disturbed by the Garfield middle school mirrors. How hard these young girls are on themselves. Young people. I don't know if they're all female. I'm not sure if they're young. Where are they getting these ideas? So yeah, we needed diversity Barbie. But my friend who took me to the prom, his status that day was, I think these new Barbies are disgusting. They're just fat, out of shape dolls with muffin tops. And it's setting a bad example for young girls. And look, I'm not saying, to be unkind to fat people, even though he was just about to be really unkind to fat people. But you can't say sitting around stuffing junk food into your face 24/7 is healthy, and having these dolls out there, I had to stop reading. It's one thing when you see it casually, you could just click off. This is the guy I went to prom with. This is a guy that I was rooting for as same-sex unions were becoming legal. This is someone I thought I could expect some compassion and understanding from. Muffin top. First of all, I like muffins. Muffins are good. The tops are the only good part of the muffin. The bottom is just cake. Throw them to the birds. I think there was an episode of Seinfeld where they just had muffin tops. This is very good. It shouldn't be a bad thing, but suddenly it's lopping over the top of your jeans, and it's that big obesity epidemic. Think of the children. And the assumptions that he was making. If you want to be lazy, okay, so fat people are lazy. You just assume that by looking at me. You don't know how hard I work at all kinds of things. Stuffing junk food into your face 24/7? Really, you could assume that just by looking at somebody's shape? That that's what they eat? Hi. Come on over. I don't know which one's empty. Both of them. Okay, good. I was hurt. I was hurt by the Barbie comment. I was hurt that he would be so insensitive. I mean, there's really, he has no heavy set friends. Fat, I don't even know what word to use, but fat friends? He has no fat friends? Then I saw the article. I forgot who wrote the article because it annoyed me, so I read it and then dumped it out of my existence. You're welcome to come over, sweetie. I could move my there. There's empty. You know, these new Barbies are going to traumatize young girls. How? Are they going to come to life at night and try to kill them? That would traumatize me. Like Chucky. Because, you know, what if you want to start sharing clothes? You know, when you play Barbies, you know, with your friends and you want to share the clothes, you know, the Barbie you have has dresses that the other Barbies might not have. And that's going to make girls feel bad. The logic boggled my mind. I said, well, in real life, we don't all share clothes, do we? Well, why would that be a thing? Well, you're going to cause jealousy. So Barbies should all be the same size so they could share clothes. Oh, okay. Good thinking. And the classic. Don't you realize fat is unhealthy? And you're promoting fat bodies. I'm not promoting anybody. Fat acceptance isn't promoting fat bodies. It's promoting respect regardless of body size. But even if it was promoting fat bodies, what do you mean promoting? Telling you to have one? What it's saying is it's okay to be a human being in the body you have. No matter what size it is, no matter what state of health you're in. Now, my girl Sean, who was trying to be encouraging, and it was sweet, and it was a beautiful encounter, but, and you know, she didn't at the time. She didn't at the time, but there are people who will say, you know, you're working so hard to change. I admire that. And I hear that sometimes. It's like, well, it's okay to be fat as long as, you know, you're working on it. Oh, I am working on being fat. I had a devil dog for breakfast. I didn't. But if I wanted to, I could. I keep them in the house. I keep a lot of devil dogs in the house. You know why? Because I struggled with eating disorders all my life. And the only way to be okay with food is to take the stigma off of certain foods. I had a client, I'm a counselor as well, and a hypnotherapist, among other things. And she came to me with her daughter, boy did this hurt me, saying, I can't get my daughter to stay on a diet. Oh, Lord. There isn't a couch big enough for the poor daughter to be in psychotherapy for life after this. So you can't get her to stay on a diet? Well, okay, problematic in a lot of ways. So there was a lot that was said during the session. I said, look, we uncovered that the trigger food that this young lady was sneak eating because her mother was oppressively trying to keep her thin was M&Ms. I said, okay, here's what you're going to do to keep your daughter from sneak eating M&Ms. And I said it right in front of the daughter. I said, you're going to get a pillowcase. A pillowcase. King size if you can. And you're going to fill that pillowcase with M&Ms. Yeah, and they're waiting. I'm like, you're going to go to Costco or BJ's or wherever it is you go, or just the grocery, I don't care where you go. Fill the pillowcase with M&Ms, and I mean it. That's going to be about 10 pounds of M&Ms. I said to the young girl, I said, can you carry 10 pounds of M&Ms? around with you? She's like, yeah. Okay, good. And anytime you want to have them, I'm saying to the daughter, I said, anytime you want an M&M, you're going to go into that pillowcase, you're going to take as many as you want and eat as many as you want. And the mother's horrified. I said, look, you said you were going to do whatever I told you to do. I won't see you again if you don't do exactly what I tell you. Anytime you want M&Ms, have M&Ms, as many as you want. And when that pillowcase, if it gets down to half full, I want you, Mommy, you refill it for her. And come back to me in a week with your pillowcase full of M&Ms. So they come back the next week. She's got the pillowcase. It's almost full. I said, oh. I said, how many times did you have to refill it? Who wants to guess? How many times did they have to refill the pillowcase? None. Exactly, none. Because she had 100% permission to eat as many effing M&Ms as she wanted. It no longer became a thing she had to sneak to spite her mother who was trying to control her. That's why I keep devil dogs in the house. That's my food. It was always my food. So I make sure I have enough that if I wanted to eat devil dogs until I passed out, I have a pass out amount. And you know how many devil dogs I eat at a time? Half of one. Because I actually did the work of taking the glitter off of devil dogs. Been eating disordered all my life because my mother put me on a diet at a very young age, 5 years old. Because I was, a pound overweight, 2 pounds over, I don't know what I was. This is the 1960s. They had how much you should weigh, how tall you should be, and if you deviated, your parents went into a panic and started to do these things, like put you on a diet. And there's no reason for a 5-year-old to be drinking skim milk. But I did. Because my mother made me. Because my pediatrician said, well, she's a few pounds overweight. And it started the weight cycle. Weight itself is not a health problem, except in the most extreme cases, including being severely underweight or so fat you're immobilized. I could give you links. So when people say, yeah, but it's well documented that fat is unhealthy. No, you just hear it often. You just hear it all the time. It doesn't mean it's well documented. There are always sets of studies that will support different sides of the thing. I'm not going to tell you smoking cigarettes is healthy. But I will tell you there's people who are in their 90s who never quit smoking. I'm not going to recommend smoking. I'm just saying, if even something as problematic as smoking isn't guaranteed to kill you, I'm telling you right now, being of size, it's not necessarily going to kill you. What will be a detriment to your health? Somebody hammering at your self-esteem constantly, telling you you're not good enough and you need to change. That's going to make you feel like crap. It's going to make you not want to walk out the front door. Weight cycling, yo-yoing. That's not healthy. Okay? Diets fail all the time. If you're interested in the science behind that, just get this book. It's not my book, but I have to recommend it. Matt Stone, Diet Recovery. The first one is very sciencey, so if you like science, you get the first one. This is Diet Recovery 2. It's written in very plain language. And it is about the physical recovery from dieting. Yes, you need to physically recover from dieting, because you know what dieting does to your body? It slows down your metabolism, makes you cold. Cold. Your metabolism gets cold. I've had 3 weight loss surgeries in my life. In a desperate attempt to make my body smaller. for health reasons. There's no to put a 23-year-old on an operating table and remove 3/4 of their stomach. They call it the gastric sleeve. It sounds like some nice thing they're going to put, like a sleeve. It's a garment. They're going to put a sleeve around you. No, they remove 3/4 of your stomach in that surgery. They can't undo that, ever. You have lost most of a very important organ that produces the digestive juices that help you absorb nutrients. I used to have thick, beautiful hair. Now I have thin, okay hair. I have to use Rogaine for women. I do. Of the malnourishment. I had the gastric bypass in 2006. At 23, I had the gastric band. I was one of the first in the country to have that. They call it the lap band now. No, they didn't do it lap. They didn't do it laparoscopically. That means they go in little holes with robots and put it in. They didn't do the lap band on me. They did the full incision band on me. See? That scar? I'm a 23-year-old. I was desperate. It worked for a year. And the way that worked was I threw up about 6 times a day. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like something's caught. And the doctor who invented it, God rest his soul, he passed, but Dr. Kuzmak, who invented the adjustable gastric band, he kept it nice and tight. He says, because I know you're going to try to eat around it. Yeah, well, human beings need food. Yeah, we need air, water, food. We need these things. So yeah, was I going to eat around it? Threw up 6 times a day for a year. Lost over 100 pounds very quickly. Oh, you look great. You look great. You look great. She looks great. She looks great. But when you throw up and you have this thing around you, it digs in, it slips. He had to replace it. Well, it sprang a leak. And all the fluid leaked out, and so it became loose enough that I could eat normally. And it was such a blur of a time in my life. I don't know if he replaced it again after that. I don't remember how many times I was gutted, like a fish, with this thing. But eventually I'm like, I can't take any more surgeries, I'm exhausted. And just left it in. And all the weight came back. Now, there's a science behind that. When you diet, your metabolism slows down because it thinks you're starving. So then anything you put into your body wants to hold on to. There was that.